Nobody's surprised that they're moving the headquarters to Texas. And then last night, when they started the annual meeting, check out this graphic that they made. As soon as it popped up, I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. It looks like a sheriff's badge with the Tesla logo in the middle, and it says, "Don't mess with." Well, we all know what that means. Don't mess with Texas. Don't mess with Tesla. And that's not an official logo. That was just a graphic that popped up before the annual meeting started last night. Texas is where they have built a new gigafactory, started production in July of 2020. They're almost done. In fact, they're going to begin production of the first vehicles to come out of there later this year. It'll be Model Ys. As for the Cybertruck, which will be built at that gigafactory, Elon Musk said last night that it won't go into production until later next year. And the goal for Tesla, according to Musk, is bringing down the cost of vehicles overall. But that's a challenge right now in this environment.
Our goal really is to make the cars as affordable as possible. We are seeing significant cost pressure in our supply chain, so we've had to increase vehicle prices, at least temporarily, but we do hope to actually reduce the prices over time and make them more affordable.
As that gigafactory comes online, and remember, there is another gigafactory that is going to be opening before the end of the year outside of Berlin, Germany. Those two should really ramp up their ability to deliver well over 1 million vehicles over the next couple of years. This is what you're seeing last year, 500,000 vehicles. So far this year, they've delivered 627,000 vehicles. Most believe they'll get close to 850 to 875,000 vehicles this year. And Elon Musk said, look, we're growing at about a 50% clip. That will continue as long as the chip supply improves in the future, which he is cautiously optimistic that will happen. One other note about this move to Texas. One thing that Elon Musk stressed yesterday is that the company is not completely abandoning California. They still have the plant in Fremont. That plant should expand production over the next couple of years, according to Elon Musk. Guys, I've been out there several times. They're bursting at the seams at that plant. Man, that plant was the old NUMMI plant for General Motors and Toyota. It was landlocked. It's still landlocked. There's a limit to how much you can do with that facility out there. And when you add in offices and the headquarters right next door in Palo Alto, not surprised at all that they're moving the headquarters down to Austin.
Hey, Phil, one of the things he talked about, and you mentioned this, the chip supply, that being able to get enough chips is a real problem. He said something, I think, like, we hope it'll get resolved soon. And I just wonder if he knows something we don't, or if that's just kind of wishful thinking, because most of the people we hear from think that that's not going to get resolved anytime even next year.
I took that language as being similar to what we heard from GM executives earlier this week in Detroit and what we've heard from other auto executives. Cautious optimism. That's all I took it as in terms of the situation. According to people that we've talked with, it is improving, but very gradually. It's not like they're flipping a switch and everything's better. And remember, even as the supply improves, Becky, it's going to take a long time for the auto industry to build up its inventory again. Now, it's a slightly different situation with Tesla because they're not supplying a dealer network, but they still are impacted to some degree, although we saw with their deliveries in the third quarter, they managed this situation far better than every other automaker out there, or almost every other automaker out there. And so when he said that, I listened to it and I thought, okay, he's cautiously optimistic. That's about as much as I took it.
You know, actually, when you say that that's what you're hearing from all of them, I didn't realize. I was thinking that this was going to be a bad problem that wouldn't get resolved anytime next year. But it sounds like it's improving on a gradual basis. So maybe we've seen the worst of it. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I think we've seen the worst of it in terms of the ability of automakers and their production. In other words, the production schedules, they're down, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 15%, relative to where they were last year in the fourth quarter. Most believe you're going to see a gradual improvement from there. But remember, it's the building up the inventory. That's the real problem here. When you talk with dealers in the auto industry overall, we're not talking about Tesla, auto industry overall, the problem is they don't have the ability to build up their inventory at all. And that's because the automakers are running production at full schedule right now. And even at that, they're still not doing all of their shifts.